Ladies and gentlemen, I have a confession to make, and it's going to be a shocking one, so take a seat. I'm old. I know. It's wild to notice and just crazy to see. The grays in my beard are natural. I am, in fact, an old man. As the kids would say, you're a boomer. Have that seat. And when I do sit, I make an audible groan. And when I get up, my knees click and pop. It's not a fun time, I'll tell you what. The thing is, though, being so old, I've gotten to grow up with video games, and that's truly amazing. Seeing them from the NES all the way up until now and watching them go from a couple of sprites on screen to what they are today is truly insane and just wild to watch. The problem, though, is during that time frame, I've also gotten to witness people going directly against video games themselves as a medium and trying to restrict them wholeheartedly. In the mid-90s and early 2000s, we had people like Jack Thompson, who was saying things like Redneck Rampage, Doom, Quake, Mech Warrior, and Grand Theft Auto were basically simulations, causing people that were young playing those games to become violent and have violent outbursts. Knowing now, though, that's completely untrue, and everybody basically knows that. The thing is, though, during that time frame, there were a couple of tragedies that were going on, and everybody was looking for something to blame. And after Jack Thompson, we had the second person who would go after gaming as well. They got the most notoriety, and that was Anita Sarkeesian. She would call basically every game sexist, homophobic, and or racist, and then paint a broad brush onto gamers themselves, basically just critiquing every single person there and just providing her own moral grandstanding onto everybody else without even understanding the medium on its own, calling something art and then trying to bastardize or change that art directly, which has always been kind of cringe to me. Now, though, in 2025, we enter with another group trying to do the exact same thing called Collective Shout. And instead of just talking about gaming directly, they are going after payment processors to now force and censor what games are even available for you to purchase. And it's gotten so far that Steam had to fold and remove some NSFW content. Other stores, however, has removed all that content completely. But you see, Collective Shout isn't the Puritan moral group that they claim to be. In fact, back in 2020, Melinda Tankard Rice, who is in fact a co-founder of Collective Shout, made this tweet and Facebook post saying this: "Some thoughts on #cuties and why I'm not joining the calls to ban." I want you guys to process this tweet real fast. The group that is trying to morally grandstand and protect women and children is going around saying that they do not want to have calls to ban the literal movie that was literally doing the thing they are against. They don't want to ban that, but they want to ban the $1 game on Steam that is the problem for them directly. The genius of smarts happening in the industry really shows the best part of all. But besides their insane blanket hypocrisy, other things have been happening as well. Because of their ability to go through and pressure payment processors, we are now seeing other major storefronts remove games from Steam that this group deems is unlikable and unplayable for you as a grown adult. Now, me personally, I don't enjoy these games at all. I've played one or two for the meme, and honestly, they're not good. They're just not. I mean, that's why they're 99 cents literally. It's basically just become a meme now on my stream where people gift them to me and I accept them, and they just kind of, try to embarrass me all the time, which I kind of find really funny, actually. The thing is, though, a small group of people in Australia are now trying to push their own morals and ethics onto payment processors, which are then directly impacting these storefronts and trying to tell you what you can and cannot purchase directly. You see, they tried the same thing back in the early 2000s with Grand Theft Auto, where they were in fact successful at removing GTA from store shelves like Target and Kmart. So in reality, there is no line for them, and showcasing their hypocrisy goes even further, because if they're willing to defend cuties, but they're trying to take down GTA, what is to say their next game that they want to take down isn't going to be the one that you enjoy specifically? And I can guarantee you they would love to have a win over something like Grand Theft Auto 6 being pulled from shelves. But unfortunately, there have been some issues along the way. Like I said before, Valve removed a couple of those games requested off of Steam, but itch.io has gone a step further. In fact, they made a statement like this here. We have de-indexed all adult NSFW content from our browse and search pages. We understand this action is sudden and disruptive, and we are truly sorry for the frustration and confusion caused by the change. Recently, we came under scrutiny from our payment processors regarding the nature of some content hosted on itch.io due to a game titled No Mercy, which was temporarily available on itch.io before being banned back in April. The organization Collective Shout launched a campaign against Steam and itch.io, directing concerns to our payment processors about the nature of certain content found on both platforms. Our ability to process payments is critical for every creator on our platform to ensure that we can continue to operate and provide a marketplace for all developers. We must prioritize our relationship with our payment partners and take immediate steps towards compliance. This is a time-critical moment for itch.io. The situation developed rapidly, and we had to act urgently to protect the platform's core payment infrastructure. Unfortunately, this meant it was not realistic to provide creators with advance notice before making this change. We know this is not ideal, and we apologize for the abruptness of this change. We are currently conducting a comprehensive audit of content to ensure we can meet the requirements of our payment processors. Pages will remain de-indexed as we complete our review. Once this review is complete, we will introduce new compliance measures for NSFW pages. This will include a new step where creators must confirm that their content is allowable under the policies of the respected payment processors linked to their account. Part of this review will see some pages being permanently removed from itch.io. Affected accounts will be notified via their account email address from our support address. You can reply to that email if you have any follow-up questions. We ask for your patience and understanding as we navigate this challenging period. I'm sorry we cannot share more at this time, as we're still getting full understanding of the situation ourselves. We will post a follow-up on our blog if the situation changes. Thank you. That is incredibly terrifying. The fact that a group of Karens can literally walk around and pressure payment processors, enforcing their morality onto these companies to go ahead and say, hey, look, we don't like this game. You need to remove this game from sale, because if not, we're going to make enough of a stink on here. And this is the bigger issue of all. Regardless of how you actually manage your money, you are dealing with these payment processors. It doesn't matter what bank you go to, how you handle it, or what kind of place you go to. If your debit card says Visa, MasterCard, or PayPal, or anything else like that, you are dealing with a payment processor. There is no ability to maintain with cash anymore, because they're not going around and simply saying you can't buy this. They are literally removing the game from sale completely. You can't purchase it, period, point blank, no matter what. And it's gotten to the point as well where there are people going around saying it's not just the games being de-indexed from the actual storefront. These are games being removed from our inventory and the games we purchased as well. In fact, on itch.io's own Twitter post about this, there is in fact a community note reading this: itch.io has not just delisted games, but removed them from the libraries of people who have paid for them without refunds. They do not acknowledge this anywhere, posting a link to a forum where that is happening to certain people. This, in my personal opinion, is a massive overreach and major issue with groups like Collective Shout. We're not talking about simply people being angry and Karens throwing a fit about a video game. No, we're talking about people who are going around and literally Thanos snapping games away from you simply because they don't like it. And what they're doing is they're applying their own morality onto the payment processors to then say, hey, look, did you know that your payment processors are dealing with these kinds of games? You should remove that directly, because that would be a really bad look if, like somebody said something about people buying a video game like this with a Visa card. Now, wouldn't that? That'd be horrible now, wouldn't it? Basically being the Karens and hall monitors of video games. And the worst part about it is this is not content that is illegal. It is legal, purchasable content. Even though people may not like it, like myself, I don't personally enjoy it, or you may not enjoy it. Who's to say that these Karens or other people like them who want to push the boundaries of what is available for you to purchase won't do that to a game that you enjoy? Remember, Collective Shout did the exact same thing to Grand Theft Auto back in the 2000s. Who's to say they won't do that again? And that's where the slippery slope comes into play. Now, I know that's a fallacy for a lot of people, but we've seen it happen more and more and over and over. And the fact that itch.io didn't just remove a few games being listed, they de-indexed and removed games from libraries of anything regarding NSFW content is the real massive concern. Who's to say that mature-rated games won't be next? Who's to say that games like either Counter-Strike or Payday or anything else that's popular as well won't be part of that next system? People were coming after me saying like, oh, Alex, you're just a gooner. You're just a big pervert because you're defending NSFW games. And that's where I think a lot of the people are getting stuck on. It's not about defending NSFW games. It's about the fact that I know how these things happen because I'm old enough to see the history of it happening over and over again. We saw it with Jack Thompson. We saw it with Anita Sarkeesian. And now we're seeing it directly with Collective Shout. The problem is you do not know the morality of these people, and you do not know the line at which they're willing to cross. And honestly, what happens is they always push more and more to what they feel is appropriate for them and what they feel is appropriate for you to consume as a grown adult and individual. And that is the real problem between all of this. Seeing just a few people exert this much power and this much force onto an industry by simply going after the processors of payments is the real problem. And the fact that these middlemen are adhering and kowtowing to these people is even worse because it goes to show that they don't have a backbone. And it's not about your bank or using cash or doing anything along that nature. They are simply just telling the storefronts, if you do not remove this, we will stop the ability for you to process payments, which means that every other game that is not NSFW or that is a normal video game will no longer have that payment be processed for that storefront. It is direct censorship of the highest order simply because a few cackling old blue-haired hags want to go around and determine what is viable for you to play and not to play. Everybody who's against this or is trying to criticize it isn't seeing the forest from the trees, because when it's a game that you like, that you want to play, that is now being attacked by these same people, don't come crying to me about it. In fact, other developers have even taken notice of this as well. Running with Scissors tweeted this: "This might affect our yearly Postal Jam events since they have been hosted on itch.io, and the new regulations might restrict things too much to the point of ruining your creativity and amount of violence in your games. We might need to find a new home to host the game jams, so feel free to suggest any. Until then, we can assure you that the third edition of the Postal Jam is still underway as scheduled and will feature the winning games one way or another. Upload your game through itch as instructed for now. Oh, and Collective Shout, go yourselves, you sanctimonious pieces of diseased rat." Oof, yeah, I wouldn't expect anything less from the developers of Postal, to be honest. But the thing is, they're actually 100% correct. Right now, it's about those games on Steam that are easy targets. But as they continue to gain ground and use more and more of their power and authority over payment processors, who's to say what game they won't focus on next? And this isn't just Collective Shout. Visa, MasterCard, and PayPal and others have also been targeting Japan for their content. So even removing Collective Shout out of the picture, this has been happening to Japan for the last few years already. Japanese politicians are catching note of this directly and what Collective Shout is doing, and they're calling it out because this is an actual catalyst of what's been happening in Japan. We talked about this last week, as many places in Japan were removing content that these payment processors felt was immoral or unable to be purchased because of how they associated with that directly, completely disregarding all the laws of those countries specifically, yet trying to impose their own morality basically onto other countries and regions. And if you think it's stopping there, this also applies to a lot of game journalists. Look at this review of Wu Chang Fallen Feathers from The Gamer, the pros and cons especially, where they gave the game a 3 out of 5, but yet the cons right here on the bottom say this: an uncomfortable and tasteless depiction of women. This is exactly what I'm talking about. This puritanical, self-aggrandizing, moral grandstanding behavior of game journalists. Hell, it happened a few days ago with Xbox Era as well, saying things like Wu Chang was Gooner approved, even though that joke didn't land at all for anybody. Yet also on thegamer.com, Tessa Kerr wrote this article, and this one paragraph I think explains everything in perfect detail. However, I do not consider myself to be the moral arbiter of kink or sexuality. Who decides what gets to exist and what the masses are allowed to consume? I definitely do not think that credit card companies should be the moral arbiters of kink or sexuality either, which is the role they seem to be taking by deciding what can pass through them. And by nature of being the biggest payment processors in the world, they in turn get to impose censorship on platforms external to them. And Tessa is absolutely 100% correct. Seeing this insane dichotomy between two different people in the same publication really goes to show that people are in fact either A, trying to morally grandstand, B, gain good boy points, or C, not even realize their hypocrisy when they're the exact same people trying to go ahead and ban whatever they feel is morally incorrect, yet turn around and shit, piss, come and queef themselves when the Baldur's Gate 3 bear sex scene happened. Oh, don't act like nobody saw or noticed, by the way, where everybody was gooning all over themselves over Baldur's Gate 3 characters, and it didn't matter who you were or where you were from, everybody was making that Rule 34 fan art. My personal favorite, Karlach. I'm a Karlach man myself. She's a sweetheart and must be protected at all costs. And the more insane part of all of this is that all that content was literally legal. It was legal to purchase. You didn't have to go on tour. There wasn't anything associated where you needed to use Bitcoin to buy that kind of product. It was right there available for purchase. If it was illegal, then it would have been taken down and legal ramifications would have happened. Which, yeah, if that illegal content is being posted up, yes, lock them up. But these same people are acting as if they're the moral arbiters, yet turning around and defending things like cuties of all things. Again, it's not about, oh, gotta protect the goon. It's about the morality and the fact that other people are trying to dictate to you as a consumer and a gamer what you can and cannot purchase. And the bigger issue is, where is the line going to be drawn next? So with all that being said, let me know what you think about this in the comments section down below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. If you want to see more of this kind of content, more PC port reviews, gaming news, Steam Deck videos, fanboy content, my hot takes in the gaming industry like this, and live streams every Saturday night, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 88,000 subs, and I just want to say thank you guys so very much. If you want Discord access or emotes during live streams, become a YouTube member. It's as low as $1. If you don't want to spend the buck, don't sweat it. Saturday nights, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, live on this channel. The streams are insane. I get insulted for 5.5 hours through AITTS. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. With all that being said, though, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a great one, and I'll see you gooners next time. Peace!